Welcome back, everybody, to the Six Pennies podcast. Unfortunately, today, or maybe it is fortunately, because we've heard a lot of mock recently, but we're down to four pennies. It's me and Timmy. How are you doing, Timmy?
I'm doing pretty good. I hope Mock is listening to us all the way from, where is he? Asia?
I
He's in
don't
Hong Kong,
even.
right?
I think he just quit. I don't know.
Oh, he just quit?
Yeah,
Yeah, quit and moved to Hong Kong. It's hot and humid over there. What a big mistake.
huge mistake. But yeah, so today's episode is something we decided to do since a huge life moment just happened for you and Sharon recently, and you guys just became a dad, and you guys gave birth to a new baby boy named Zachary. I want you to kind of describe that night, all the hours leading up to the labor and everything like that.
All of it? How long is this podcast? How many hours do we have?
I mean, the longer the better, I feel like. More details. I want to hear all the details.
You want to hear it all? Dad Pod 3, we're here. Uh, okay, so Zachary is right about 4 weeks old right now, and it has been really a whirlwind. It's gone by very quickly, and to look back on that day, it was the morning actually that Sharon was due for delivery, and we're expecting him to come. I guess we thought he would come a little early at first, and then later we thought he would come later. It just turned out on that day, on the 24th of April, about 6 in the morning, she woke up and started having some contractions. And the whole time we didn't know what contractions were going to be, or she didn't know what it would feel like. But when she started having them, I think she pretty quickly knew. So that was about 6 in the morning. We waited several hours just to make sure that they were contractions. They were getting closer together. And then we headed over to the hospital. So we probably didn't get to the hospital till like 10:30. And then they did some tests and checks, and they decided to admit her and just figured that he would probably be born that day. So from there, it's I don't know if they ever tell you this, Alby, but labor is like 99% waiting. Did you know that?
I did not, but I mean, with you, I'm sure you had like all these podcasts to listen to, or like old episodes of Six Pennies podcast.
Yeah, a couple actually, but not that many. I mean, it's waiting, but then it's kind of active waiting. You have to be ready. You have to like. I mean, for me, I'm just kind of sitting there in the corner, and so the little chair they have in the corner. So I'm getting ready to like, I don't know, help Sharon if she needs some water, or get her something, or nurses come in like every, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour or something to check on her. So it's waiting, but not a ton of downtime. I did get to play a little bit of Settlers while I was there, though.
Nice.
So it was all worth it.
Did you improve or made your ranking worse?
I think it got worse there because I had to like close a couple games because something would come up, but it's fine. It's not that big a deal, I guess. So anyway, after a few hours, the contractions were getting worse. She was in a little bit of pain, so they asked if she wanted epidural, which we had said we did want, which is a numbing. It numbs everything, so she won't feel as much down there when the actual active labor begins. And she probably shouldn't have gotten it that early, but there was like a scheduling issue with the anesthesiologist where that doctor had to go to a surgery soon. So it was either get it now at like 2 p.m. or wait like 3 or 4 hours. So we went ahead and got it. Unfortunately, that kind of slows labor down. So we ended up having to wait much longer than we expected.
Doctors, man, they're always like busy with other stuff.
There's like one anesthesiologist in the building. I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, freaking doctors.
So anyways, there's a lot of waiting, trying to take naps. Sharon was trying to get some of her homework done for her grad school,
Dang, that
which
is
pretty
dedication.
funny. I mean, she kept talking about it. She kept saying she had her laptop, she had her stuff.
Oh, you're calling her out. You're calling her out while she's giving birth to her son, to your son.
No, I was telling her not to do it. I was like, you should not be trying to do this right now. Like, you should rest because everybody had told us, like, get as much rest as you can now because once the labor happens and after that, you just don't sleep. And they were right. So, this went on for the next 12 plus hours. Finally, close to 4 in the morning is when she was dilated enough and was ready to start pushing. And so that's when the active labor began. And that was for about 2 hours. And so I was there helping out, watching everything. And the end of it is the crazy part because it takes a bit of time. It's like every couple minutes, you don't really see much happening. And then all of a sudden, like the last 10, 15 minutes or so. Before that, it's just like a nurse that's helping, and it's kind of strange because you think like, oh man, there's gonna be all these people in the room. All of a sudden, the doctor comes in and checks, and then she gets all scrubbed up, brings all these tools, and then other people start coming in the room, and like within 15 minutes, like everything's done. There's this little blue alien that squirts out, and I don't know
Whoa.
how it happens. It's like you see like the head is going to come out and you're like, oh, maybe it'll work, and then it's like larger than you expect, and then somehow the rest of the body just squirms out of there really quickly. And then there's all these people who are like kind of vacuuming him to make sure he's, and doing checks on him, to test on him to make sure that he's healthy. And yeah, there's like 8 people in there just kind of managing everything at that point.
I think I heard Zachary screaming in the background when you called him a blue alien.
You're gonna you're gonna hear him for a little bit because he just woke up and he screams a lot.
Yeah, so you kind of went through the details. I'm trying to look for something deeper, Timmy. I want to know what you were feeling. Like, did you cry? Did
Whoa!
Sharon cry?
Oh,
What kind of
this is getting deep.
emotions? Yeah, what kind of emotions did you go through, Dad?
There wasn't that much crying. I think it was a lot more. Um, it's kind of a whirlwind. Everything's just moving so quickly, and you're not sure what to do. There's definitely some very like deep feelings when you're seeing the baby and then like holding him for the first time. When I saw the baby came out and they put him on Sharon's chest for like 10 seconds, 15 seconds immediately to try to have him bond, even though he's kind of a gross thing that's on her. She didn't know that actually it was all done yet, and so the look on her face when she saw baby Zachary like on her chest, she was like so shocked and like amazed at the little thing that had come, or the giant thing that had come out of her. It was pretty amazing to see.
Yeah, and were her parents were there, right?
No, so at the hospital, it was just me. Her
Wow.
parents wanted to come, but we just thought it'd be too many people. The rooms aren't that big,
Yeah.
so they came a couple days later when we were discharged and we went home. They met us at home. But Sharon's older sister actually came the next day, or that day, and stayed with us at the hospital for the first 2 nights that we were there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to get a little bit into Zachary. Like, how did you guys come up with this name? I mean, I'm looking on the internet to see who the famous Zacharys are, and
Yeah.
I get like Zac Efron, even though that's not a Zachary. Zach Galifianakis. There's Zachary Taylor, the
Yep.
president. I think he's the 19th president, and
Yeah.
Zach Braff and those kind of guys. But it's a pretty unique name. So how did you guys come up with such a cool name?
I mean, I wish I could be like the dads on Dad Pod 1 and 2. They all had such really great meanings and
Really
depth behind how
spiritual,
they
yeah.
chose. Yeah, really spiritual. Um, we did not really do that. I mean, we went through all the lists online, and we didn't want something super trendy. We didn't want to have. I think some of those guys have these names like Noah and Lucas, and those are things that are like the most popular right now. We didn't want really strange names either, so we were looking more traditional. And with each name, we would also look up the meanings, see if there was some biblical reference, and we would cross out the ones that had poor meanings. Like there's um, actually I think we briefly thought about Taylor as well, like Zachary Taylor, and then we're like, oh shoot, that's a president. But there's other weird names out there. Like we thought about like Parker is a really popular name right now, right? Do you know what Parker means?
No, I don't.
Parker is a park keeper.
Oh, nice. I like it.
It's a person who works in the park. That's not deep. And there's Bradley was one we liked. That's Bradley means a broad clearing in the woods. So we didn't go for any of those. We had a few that we liked. Zachary means remembered by God. Comes from Zechariah the prophet, who is also John the Baptist's father. So we liked the name. There's not like a specific reason why we liked it, but I think it just came out on top after we um, process of elimination, got rid of everything else, and now it's hard to imagine this little baby being called anything else.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I did leave out the most famous Zach of all time, and that's Saved by the Bell, Zach
Yeah,
Morris, Zach
Zack
Attack.
Attack.
Yeah. Okay, so it's like you said, it's been about 4 weeks now or a month now. What has been the hardest thing so far, I guess, in terms of either raising Zachary or any adjustments that you and Sharon have made?
Yeah, I mean, everybody talks about sleep deprivation, which definitely is difficult because I think it's just the length of time that you sleep. There's no like uninterrupted long stretches. So every time you're waking up in the middle of the night, or even in the day during naps, it's only a couple hours at a time, and then you're awake for a little while. You're not just going back to sleep immediately. You're awake for like an hour at a time, or more. But the hardest thing for us is definitely just breastfeeding and that whole debacle. I think people don't really talk about it very much, but just the whole nursing thing is a very difficult thing for new mothers to do. Most people don't know what goes into it. We didn't know how difficult it would be. Sharon
It's
has said
really
that
hard
she
for
would.
you, right?
She, what's that?
I said it's really hard for you, right?
Yeah, it's impossible for me. But Sharon has said that she'd rather give birth again than to go through breastfeeding because,
Jeez.
I mean, at least the labor and the delivery, there's an end point. You know how long it's going to be. You know when it's going to be over. Breastfeeding is like an ongoing thing, at least for many months, if you're going to try to do it.
Yeah.
And the American Academy of Pediatrics is basically what everybody uses as their Bible for raising kids. And it's very strongly encourages breastfeeding. There's very great nutritional benefits for their immune systems, for their development and everything. And so it feels like it's pushed on you, even though there is, the option that many mothers and children do, which is formula feeding. And it turns out like more than half of mothers can't even breastfeed can't even get beyond like a couple months of breastfeeding. So
Yeah.
I wish that they had told us that before. We're still kind of in the middle stages right now, trying to figure out what we're going to do. But it's been pretty difficult all along the way.
Do a lot of mothers and family decide on, I guess, doing like a hybrid, like some breastfeeding and some formula?
I'm not sure. I think for the most part, because it's encouraged so much, everybody wants to breastfeed 100%. Like that would be the goal because it's cheaper and it's health benefits. I think that's the goal, but a lot of them I think will do some sort of hybrid or just switch at some point.
Okay. Okay, so I asked this question, during the first iteration of Dad Pod, but now for you, so far, what's been the best purchase or the most useful thing that you guys have bought or received and have been using that with Zachary?
Huh. I don't think there's been any like great little gadgets or anything that we've gotten. I mean, just getting all the diapers and wipes were pretty much the things that we use the most. But one of the things that we decided to get and to put on our registry were these really nice swaddles. These are just like large blankets that you wrap up the baby in like a burrito. And we had originally picked some that were, I don't know, like $5 to $7 each, and I was like, "Oh, those are pretty nice." But Sharon wanted some nicer ones. I was like, "Okay, fine." So these are like, I don't know, $12, $10 maybe, and they're very. There's a big difference. They're really good material, and they work really well.
So it's kind of like regular basketball socks versus Nike Elite basketball socks. So I kind of understand. I get it.
I've never had Nike Elite basketball socks.
All right, so
Maybe you could send me a pair or something. I can try them on while I'm not playing basketball.
yeah, I'll give it to you face to face at the bachelor party.
Okay.
So we went through the hardest thing so far, and that's breastfeeding, like you said. What's been the funnest? Like, what's been the most enjoyable thing that you and Sharon have gone through?
I don't know. For everybody, from what we hear from everybody else, the first month feels like somebody described it as like parenting pledging, just because of how stressful and difficult it is. It's hard to have that much fun. When he's quiet though and awake, which is not often. I don't know how often that is. An hour a day, maybe less, where he's actually awake and just sitting still or just playing, moving his arms around and stuff. That's pretty fun. The other fun time is just when he's asleep.
So you're not having any fun.
Very very minimal fun.
So since you and Sharon both are first time parents, we all make mistakes. So not to get into anything like really serious, but what's something that you guys kind of messed up on and then didn't realize till later on?
You just want one, or you want? I have so many.
Oh yeah, let's hear them all then.
Okay. Well, the first thing we did was when we came home from the hospital. like I said, we were meeting Sharon's parents at our place, or we were gonna go home and wait for them. And we knew that Sharon's mom was gonna be cooking us Korean food for the next couple weeks, probably.
Nice.
And in particular, there's this seaweed soup that Korean people eat for mothers in postpartum that helps them recover. You're
Yeah.
supposed to eat that for I think 21 days, and we've actually been
21
eating it
days every
we've actually
meal.
been eating it every single day for the last 4 weeks in a row. I think there was 2 days there. So Sharon's parents left after a little bit, but then her mom came back. So there were like 3 or 4 days there where I made some chicken soup in between. But at least one meal every single day besides that, we've had the seaweed soup. I actually made it the other day after her mom left
Jeez.
again. So we've been eating that nonstop. So
So
anyway, we knew that was coming.
you've been losing weight, huh?
I've lost probably like 3 or 4 pounds.
Dang, I should have a baby.
Maybe 5 pounds. I don't know. It might be stress related. Who knows? But we knew this was coming, so we're like, what? We need it. We're hungry. It was like 1 o'clock, so we decided to stop at In-N-Out on the way home, which was probably the most irresponsible thing as new parents we could have done, just because we didn't know how to handle a baby. Like I should have dropped Sharon off at home with him, even though she wouldn't know what to do just with him either. But we stopped at In-N-Out. I ran in there. It took longer than needed, or longer than expected. Came back and he was screaming in the car, but he made it.
That's awesome.
So the other mistakes we had was just like I mentioned, we didn't realize that breastfeeding would be so difficult. One thing you don't know is that actually the breast milk doesn't come in fully for several days, and it varies depending on the mother. But the baby's trying to eat and needs to continue to grow, right? So we see him trying to eat, or what we think is eating for the first few days. Turns out like there's not very much breast milk coming in. So he actually lost quite a bit of weight in his first few days, which we had been warned is a normal thing.
Yeah.
But he lost a little more than expected. So we had to add some formula for the next few days. He's back to normal weight now, but that's just one thing that we wish we had known. Like, even if it seems like they're eating, they might not be getting enough. The other thing we did as a mistake there was probably a week after that, we were trying to feed him out of a bottle of some pumped milk, or maybe it was formula, and he was like eating from it, and then he would just start screaming. We're like, what's the problem? This happened for like 15, 20 minutes in a row. Normally he's done eating in like 10, 15 minutes. And finally we realized like there was like a little piece of lint or something blocked right at the nipple of the bottle, so he was getting nothing from it, and so we pulled it out and he ate, and it was fine.
You made him just drink air for 15 minutes?
I mean, they like to suck on pacifiers,
no,
so
that's
a normal thing, right?
Worst parents ever.
That was bad. But the absolute worst thing was definitely from 2 days ago, 3 days ago. We bought these we got as a gift these baby nail files from Sam and Kimmy, my friends in Houston.
Yeah.
And they're really helpful because the baby's nails get really long and he doesn't know what to do. He's like scratching his face, he's scratching us. So the nail file is nice, but it's kind of difficult to use and doesn't work that effectively. So we bought some nail scissors that are safe scissors, and they're rated really highly on Amazon because they don't cut through like skin or anything. And so I was trimming his nails while he was calm the other day, and apparently they do cut skin a little because I nicked his finger.
Oh my
his pointer
gosh!
finger.
Wait,
yeah,
you cut his finger off?
No, not off. Just like the very tip of it, just like nicked it a little, so there's like a little drop of blood.
Oh gosh!
And so I
hates
tried to put
you
pressure
now.
on it. Oh, he's gonna hate us once he listens to this.
No, he hates you.
He probably hates me. Yes. So we put pressure on it. It took a while. It was like it kept bleeding a little bit, but he's fine now. He's just gonna miss part of his finger for the rest of his life.
Jeez.
Yeah, so a few mistakes. That's about it. Embarrassing.
Yeah, so you actually sound pretty awake and energetic. In those first like 5 days, how many total hours of sleep did you get?
I'm just putting on a show right now. I'm not that awake. Just kidding. We got a decent amount of sleep. Like he would and still does sleep for a couple hours at a time typically. So at night, if he wakes up twice, it's still like 5-6 hours of sleep, just on and off, and then typically like hopefully a nap during the day. Especially with the grandparents here, it made things a lot easier where, they could watch him for a little bit while we would try to take a nap. The past few days, it's been a little bit more difficult since everybody's gone. It's just the two of us now with the baby. So he has been sleeping a little better through the night. One of the nights he slept for like almost 5 hours, which
Oh
is a
wow,
lot, probably
that's
maybe a little
awesome.
too much, but we'll see how it goes. When he did that, the next day he was like fussy all day and wouldn't sleep during the day. So not sure what's better.
Yeah, so a lot of our friends, are getting married, having children. A lot of them already like on number two or number three, and every time I would visit them, I would, see, hold the baby or something like that, and the couple would kind of identify parts of the baby or features of the baby that they love the most or they think is the cutest or the most unique, whether it's like a birthmark or like a piece of fat or something like that. That's really it's really silly. For Zachary, what's the favorite feature you have?
That's a difficult one. I'm not sure. He doesn't have like a lot of baby fat right now, so he's kind of a skinny guy. But the one thing that I think is really cute are his toes.
Oh,
It's
nice.
just the feet are really tiny, and the toes are really really small and cute as well.
Yeah, cool. Um, yeah, that was a pretty bad question by me. I'm sorry.
Well, so what else have other people said? Like, is there like do they like their noses or their eyes or something or?
They would like bend their legs or something, and then more of the fat would be pushing out, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I really like that part of the leg," or
So
just random things.
it's really just chubby, chunky babies,
Yeah,
which is cute. Yeah, he's just not that chunky right now. It is fun when he puts his legs up like in. I mean, babies when they're in the womb, they have their legs up like in a frog position. So it's really cute when he does that again. He's just bundled all up in a little fetal position.
yeah, that's cool. So babies, what I've been told is they go back and forth in terms of like looking more like their mom's side or their dad's side, but it goes back and forth. Like maybe, like when they're first born, they look like their mom. When they're like 5, they look like their dad. As of right now, 1 month in, who does Zachary look like, and who do other people think Zachary look like?
Well, before we get to that, I think from what we've noticed for some of our friends, for the most part, most babies seem to look like their dads at the beginning.
Hmm.
And I think that's a thing with nature, so that the dads would like the kids and continue to take care of them. That's what I don't know if I read that or if we just made that up, but it seems like a lot of the
Is
little
it
babies we've seen
is
have
it
looked like their
working on
dads.
you, or he's just stopped taking care of it?
Um, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but for Zachary, he definitely looks like me.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, Sharon says it. Everybody has said that. I actually don't see it as much. Maybe I'm blind to it because it's me. But he has probably some features that are mine, like the eyes and the nose, and probably mouth. Pretty much everything.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah, we don't see much. Yeah, I mean, he's. Um, I'm sure it's going to change, and there'll be a blend at some point. But right now, he looks a little bit like me. He's got skinny legs like me too.
oh yeah, you do have really skinny
I
legs.
know. It sucks. Got to
What?
do some squats. Haven't worked out at all.
Yeah, man, you got to work out the legs. Don't be like Mock.
Mock doesn't work out legs.
Yeah, remember we did that.
Like, yeah, but he doesn't. He started doing it sometimes, right?
I guess so. Um.
Uh,
All
if
right.
I
So
don't, when I don't work out my legs for a while, they get super skinny. So right now, it's probably pretty bad. Chopsticks down there.
is that why your shoelaces never need to be tied again because like your feet are skinny too?
I don't think so. That was I don't know. People on the podcast have no idea what that means,
Yeah.
but Alby gave me a pair of shoes when he lived here in California. They're a pair of like red and white Nikes because I just didn't want to buy shoes, and so I used those to work out in, play basketball in them, did everything in them, running, and I never had to retie them. I just slipped them on, and they're tied, and I didn't retie them for probably 4 years, I think.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
All right, so let's wrap this up. The last final question, and I think it's the most important, especially for me. You're 1 month in. I know my bachelor party is about 2 months away. You have not committed yet to my bachelor party, and I'm wondering why.
This is the most important question for Dad Pod 3.
I'd say so.
This is has nothing to do. Well, I guess it does have something. I mean, the reason is clearly because I don't know yet if I'm going to be able to do that in a couple months. And you gave us the deadline of June 15th, so I have like 3 weeks to decide.
Are you just gonna use Zachary as an excuse for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
True.
Of course.
True.
It's not an excuse. It's just like I don't know if Sharon can handle taking care of him for a whole weekend by that point. Maybe. I mean, that's a couple months away. So just gonna take these next couple of weeks until the night of the deadline to make the final decision.
So have you taken Zachary out and stuff? Oh, you took him to In-N-Out, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's been in the car. We've taken to the doctor. We went on a walk with him just the other day, actually, for the first time around the neighborhood in a stroller.
That's nice.
So that's been pretty good. He's been in the car like for a couple of little trips, but not to any public places yet.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for listening.
Oh wait, hey, you had one more question on there. You asked who's his favorite.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to get to that because I knew it's Sharon. Like it has to.
Oh,
be
it's
mom.
it's not. It's not Sharon. It's not me either. It's actually Sharon's mom.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say when you showed Zachary a picture of me, he like just loved it.
I was definitely not gonna say that.
Oh, okay.
No, something about her mom. He just gets really quiet with her and just sits there and stares at her. He'll be like screaming with us. We hand him off, and then he just kind of sits and looks at her. But the last few days she was here, he started getting a little fussier with her. So I was like, maybe it's not just us. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes next few weeks.
He's just trolling all of you guys one by one.
He just hates all of us. Yeah. It's very possible.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for listening in to Dad Pod 3. Thank you, Timmy, for sharing, the first 30 days, if you will, of your fatherhood. Please follow us on Facebook at Six Pennies Podcast.